Well, here we are knocking on the door for 2022,
I knocked on the door.
right?
Is this a door table?
It is. So this year flew by, right? Obviously, we've been busy. But I thought today we'd take some time maybe and just kind of do a reflection, a market reflection on 2021. Maybe discuss things that we've seen over the year in our industry.
2021. You know, I was driving into work today and the Christmas music was playing. So it's obviously December, right?
Yes.
We're in the second week of December, 21 right now.
Yep.
And when we began 21 in January, I was super optimistic about, well, I think that the pandemic's going to be behind us. We're coming out of lockdowns and, we haven't been able to travel and visit with clients at trade shows, kind of pent up,
Yeah, absolutely.
And so everybody, all of our team was excited about the new year and all the initiatives that we'd started here and just getting into it, getting back to work to execute and see what's going on. But, I really also sensed that optimism from a lot of business owners that we talked to at the beginning of January 21, that they were excited about, opening up, actually doing some business. And I wasn't disappointed. I thought this year we got to see a lot of people. I don't know how many trade shows you guys went to and I went to, but it was a few.
I got
It was-
6 this year.
And there was a lot of people that we talked to, and people were very happy to be out and about and getting back to normal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if we do a recap of 2021, how did 2021 start off as far as metals pricing? Maybe start from January to where we are present and, what that looks like.
Well, we're talking about PGMs, of course,
Yeah.
because that's the industry we focus on, precious metals.
Mm-hmm.
And they were on the uptick. They were rising into the spring, summer. And pricing was very strong. If I look at volumes versus price, the volumes indicated that it was an uptick due to pricing. People weren't holding inventories. People were willing to turn their inventories to catch the up market, to make
Right.
those sales that they had not necessarily done in the previous year. And so, yeah, volumes were rising all the way through the third quarter of the year. And in the third quarter of the year, of course, we saw PGMs correct and continue to correct. Here we are in December. We had some pretty low pricing on palladium and platinum, which is to be expected, really.
Yeah. Doesn't it typically kind of
It's seasonal.
dip down seasonally,
Yeah,
around
yeah.
this time of year?
Yes, to be expected. And of course, the last 3 months of this year, we saw that volumes had peaked and had come off of its highs from the summer. But people are still making deals. People still need cash flow and are looking for year-end sales to make their year-end target. And so, I'm buoyed by that. I'm seeing some solid sales figures come through, which is, what we kind of look at it from the perspective of, we're at this part of the supply chain.
Right.
We have all these suppliers that are,
Feeding the supply chain.
feeding our sales buckets,
Mm-hmm.
and they're doing well. No one's complaining. I mean, a couple guys are not happy about the lower pricing, but I see it as opportunity. If it's lower pricing, you could get in. If you've got material available, you could get in at a lower price. Uses less cash,
Mm-hmm.
so your cash flow issues are alleviated a little bit.
Right.
So it's easier to work for some of these folks. But for us, it was a good year. Again, we've really been blessed the last 5 years, to just continually see volumes rise. And I really attributed it to pricing.
Yeah.
I mean, we hit 2,600 or so palladium this year, and we had 650 palladium 5 years ago.
That's a big difference.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, definitely.
And the loadings are higher in palladium these days, we're seeing, than we did 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think that we're beginning to see the effects of the OEM manufacturers of catalytic converters switching or substituting platinum for palladium in the loading.
Yeah.
So on the demand side, I think we're, platinum is still in surplus, and palladium is being pushed into surplus now because they're buying less palladium.
Right.
Probably take a little bit of while before platinum goes into deficit. Car sales are where they are.
Right. And we know why, right? The chip shortage.
The chip shortage is a great
factor.
A great factor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it does affect our
What was it
our
you
market.
said to me the other day? You said, can you imagine buying a BMW without a nav system?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a given. You get into BMW, you have it, right?
Right.
Well, you don't have the chip. You
so
can't
it's
run
not
it.
an upgrade like a GM product, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to have the nav system, right?
Right.
A lot of chips.
Oh, definitely.
A lot of chips.
Right.
How many chips are required in a gas engine vehicle versus a battery electric vehicle? A lot more in a battery electric vehicle.
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
So I think that this chip shortage isn't going to go away anytime soon because demand for chips is on the increase.
Yeah.
And if you're a manufacturer of internal combustion engines and you don't see a way to deliver a certain product with all these chips, you're not going to build that product and just have it partially sitting there.
Right. It's not very economical.
So why would you get into the market to buy the PGMs, manufactured catalytic converters, for vehicles you're not going to build?
Right.
So we're kind of seeing that right now as well on the demand side. It's a little softer.
Right. We've seen that throughout the fourth quarter here in 2021.
So you've traveled a little bit this year.
Yeah.
When you're in your Uber in your different cities and you're driving around, do you ever take a look at the car lots that you drive by? What are you seeing?
They're pretty much empty. Even here locally, if you go down one of these major thoroughfares, you could probably, oh my gosh, there's probably about 6 manufacturers within a block. And what you see is the cars are so spaced out. If they do have new inventory, they have it spaced out with the used car inventory.
And you can't tell. But
from the street.
Good.
But it looks good.
Like
it looks like they're
inventory.
busy. But if you get there and you actually walk the lot, then that's when you realize, oh, wow, this is used cars versus, the new car inventory. So it's affected the auto industry all the way to what we do in recycling with the PGMs.
Yeah.
It's affected all of us.
Right. So what do you think is going to happen come January when we come back from our little break?
I think it's probably going to stay steady where the pricing is now currently. There's been a lot of talk this year, and they've been pushing in legislature. They want to end the combustible, gas engines, right? We've discussed that on, previous podcasts. We've talked about the infrastructure and what that's going to take to be able to facilitate all of these electric vehicles. But as far as pricing, I think it's probably going to be steady for a few more months, maybe going into, the second quarter of 2022 where we're at currently, but I don't see that as a negative factor because like you said, we have a lot of suppliers that are busy, they're taking advantage of the dip in the pricing. They're buying at a little bit of a lower value. So, they're increasing their profits on the buy as well. But the main thing is, how long can people hold out without the operating capital? There's got to be a point where you look and you say, okay, well, I have all this inventory, in my shelves. Do I want to hold on for 6 months and try to get to that peak pricing we had, a year ago? Or do we just need to, cut the losses now, sell it, and keep moving forward?
Well, I've had a few phone calls this year from a couple of our suppliers asking me questions on the same topic. where do we see AutoCAT volumes in the future?
Mm-hmm.
Say 3 to 5 years, maybe 10 years down the road. I guess they're concerned because they don't know. They hear all this in the news about, battery electric vehicles and the switch away from internal combustion engine, which means fewer catalytic converters, supposedly. I just don't think the volumes are going to be affected greatly, probably for at least 5 years. And when they do start to taper off, I think we're going to see today's newer vehicles
Right.
entering the recycling chain with higher loadings.
Right.
And so from a volume perspective, yes, it will probably decrease. But from a value perspective, the value of those will rise.
Right.
So
That's a good point.
from a sales dollar volume, it will probably be equal and growing probably for another 5 to 10 years beyond that. So I still see this as a growth industry for a decade.
That's good. That's a very
That's
good
my
point.
optimistic take for the end of 21.
Right. Well, that's good. All right. Well, I appreciate your time today. I just want to say Merry Christmas,
Merry
Happy
Christmas.
Holidays to you and your family and
Happy New
everybody
Year.
that's watching.
Yeah.
Happy holidays, everybody, and we'll see you in 2022.